Late night happenings here in the Man Cave Studios as we just witnessed the next opponent for our fish. And I told you who it was probably going to be. It's Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne moves on in Game 7 of the Central Division semifinals, beating Iowa tonight by the score of 4-1. We'll break that game down and look now to Friday night, Game 1 at the Bank Tank between the Fish and the Fort Wayne Comets. Also, we'll take a look around the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs as they are underway. The Leafs choke at Scotiabank Arena tonight, while the Devils and Hurricanes tied at 4. Interesting game, and we'll see if the harmonica singers can help out tonight as well. Also, the Tigers in action in Houston. The Guardians just now getting underway after a long rain delay game against the Twins after they got pummeled last night at Progressive Field. Also, tonight, we're going to take a look at what happened on Sunday. Big win last night. Big win for the Cavs. So much more. Also, a 5-way playoff in the LPGA Chevron Championship. I got a chance to watch it, and I'll give you my take on it. All that and so much more tonight on this Tuesday night edition of All Andy Alfred. We are less than a few days away. 4 days away for the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby. It's that time, my friends. The first Saturday in May, not only the opening day for Cedar Point, but the best day in horse racing. We'll preview that coming up this week on All Andy Alfred. And I love you guys, and welcome in to another edition of All Andy Alfred right here on your exclusive home for me, and that is with the Riverside Podcast Network through the All Andy Alfred Podcast Network. That is either with Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Bleaker, however you are listening to us, wherever and whenever you're listening to us. Thank you so much for tuning into the show tonight. You can always be a part of our show by following us on Twitter. It is at All Andy Alfred. It is at All Andy Alfred, as well as Facebook.com/All Andy Alfred. And we are on YouTube on the All Andy Alfred YouTube channel. And welcome to tonight's show. It is a late night edition on this, the 29th day of April 2025. I'm your host, Andy Alfred, coming to you from the Man Cave Studios in Toledo, Ohio. It is a truly great pleasure to be with you on the air tonight. Of course, we'll recap the weekend, the Zurich Classic, as well as the Chevron Championship that took place in the woodlands of Texas, as it was a 5-woman playoff. And I'll share my thoughts on that 5-woman playoff here in just a few minutes. A great ending to it, as well, to Talladega taking place. We'll dive into that as well. Also, got to get into the Cavs, a huge win. Now we know who their next opponent is going to be. We'll look at that as well. The NFL draft has come and passed. We now know where Shedeur Sanders is going to be going to, as well as where Harold Fanning Jr. will be going to. It's not that far of a distance for us in Bowling Green, for the Bowling Green fans, and he's trading one set of orange and brown for another set of orange and brown, and I'll get you that here in just a second. Also, hit the diamond, talk a little Tigers, Guardians, and Reds. Reds postponed tonight. They'll play a doubleheader tomorrow. Guardians are just now underway in Progressive Field after the long rain delay, while the Tigers are in Houston going on as we speak, and the NHL playoffs full swing. But like I said, you can always be a part of our show by following us on Twitter. It is at All Andy Alfred. It is at All Andy Alfred, as well as Facebook.com/All Andy Alfred, as well as on YouTube on the All Andy Alfred YouTube page. Subscribe. So there is that for you guys tonight. Of course, we have been now waiting over a week since the last walleye game took place. The walleye sweeping the Indy Fuel in 4 straight. We waited to find out who the fish will be playing next, and we find out tonight who the walleye will be playing next, as it was a back-and-forth battle between Iowa and Fort Wayne. Iowa taking a 3-2 series lead back to Fort Wayne for 2 games. Fort Wayne winning the Game 6, forcing tonight's Game 7 in the Coliseum. Great crowd on hand at the Coliseum. Saw some of the highlights of this game. And let's just say it was a doozy of a game. A doozy of a game for that one tonight in the Coliseum as the Fort Wayne Comets get a huge win and move on in the Central Division semifinal with a 4-1 win tonight over the Iowa Heartlanders. It all started off with Iowa jumping on the board. It was Moto getting his first of the campaign for Mura and Rabi even strength at the 5:36 mark of the first period, and it was 1-0 Iowa after 20 minutes of play. Then Fort Wayne turned on the Jets as Murray gets his third of the season from Brady and Ilaria at the 1:20 25 into the second period. It is a 1-1 game, and then the power play strikes for Machev to Dugan to Skirhoff, his second of the playoffs. The Comets take a 2-1 lead, and they never look back. Kepling gets his fourth of the campaign in the second period at the 13:04 mark of the period from Murphy and Sternoff, even strength. It's 3-1 Comets after 40 minutes of play, and then Andrew Petruzzelli puts the empty netter in, his first of this playoff campaign from Iwamoto and Kepling on the empty net at the 19:32 mark of the game, and that is the final. From the Coliseum, 6,548 in attendance. The Comets, a 4-1 win over the Iowa Heartlanders tonight, ending Iowa's season in Game 7 of the Central Division Final. It was Roussel for Iowa getting the loss. He stopped 17 of 20, save percentage of a .925. For Day, he stopped 32 of 33, save percentage of a .975 in the game tonight. Pretty clean game. Dugan called for roughing for an interference call. Murphy and Ilaria all called for penalties. Iowa tonight 0 for 3 on the power play. Fort Wayne a perfect 1 for 1 on the power play tonight, as it was Steroff getting the 3 star. Wow, that was weird. He gets the number 3 star and the number 1 star, and Day gets the number 2 star in the game. Like I said, good crowd, 6,540 in attendance at the Coliseum. Fort Wayne ends Iowa's season tonight by the score of 4-1. So now we know who the next opponent will be for the Fish, and that series will now start Friday night at the Bank Tank. It will be Friday night, 7:15 puck drop. The Fish will take on the Fort Wayne Comets. The series will be now a 2-3-2 series. Game 1 and Game 2 will be Friday night and Saturday night at the Huntington Center. 7:15 puck drop for that one. Limited tickets for Friday. Sellout for Saturday. It's a definite sellout. You might have to go to the secondary markets or the Facebook pages to find tickets for Saturday night's hockey game at the Bank Tank, or better yet, just go see a good show downtown or out in Oregon. My good friends over there out at Facet Middle School, Into the Woods with the Oregon Community Theater, or hell, better yet, head down to the Rep and see a good show, Witness for the Prosecution. That's a good one too. And then catch the crowds coming out of the Walleye game, see if they're going to be celebrating or they're going to be ejected from this game as well too. But the Fish will play Game 1 and Game 2 Friday and Saturday night at the Bank Tank. 7:15 puck drops for that one. The series then will move to Fort Wayne. First game will be Monday at 7:35. 7:35 puck drop. There will be a day off on Tuesday. Game 4 will be Wednesday night, 7:35 puck drop for that one. Thursday, 7:35 puck drop for that game Thursday night at the Coliseum. There's a discussion on the table right now of us heading over there for Game 5 if it's necessary. Now, early on in this season, I told after this playoff series ended with the Fish in Indianapolis with the 4-game sweep, I told you how I felt about this next round for the Fish. The Fish have been sitting now for over a week and a half. It'll be a week and a half until their last game, which was past Tuesday, not this Tuesday, today, but last Tuesday. That was their last game as they swept Indianapolis. They have been now sitting a week and a half, fully healthy, fully ready to go. With this veteran team that we have, my concern is rust. We're going to see a lot of that Friday early on in the game because Fort Wayne has been playing since. They're going to be hot. They're going to be fresh still. And I think they're going to get to us either on Friday night. I think they will. They'll take game one. I have a feeling they're going to take game one. I'm not jumping the gun. I have a feeling Toledo will get done in 6 in this series now with Fort Wayne. I think the goaltending is better for Toledo in this one. I think Fort Wayne can't stay out of the penalty box against us. And it's going to be one of those series where you're going to say to yourself, it's going to be a knockout, drag-out series when it comes to this for this team. You know, you've got Dugan, you've got Petrozelli, you've got Cormier, who is very, very good. These 3 guys, these 3 Comets, are going to be a thorn in our side, I think, this whole playoff run. I just have that feeling. By the way, Iowa outshot Fort Wayne in the game 33-21. 33-21 in the game. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in the series. It really is. And like I said, if you look at Fort Wayne, Matt Murphy, very, very good. You've got Blake Murray, very good as well too. Like I said, Jack Dugan, Andrew Petrozelli, Jack Corniak, good. And the goaltending of Brett Bruder and Nathaniel Day are going to be very, very good for the Comets. So you have to give I give Fort Wayne at least 2 games in this series. I'm not going to be surprised if this goes 7. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7. But if Toledo could just hold ship at least, split it at the Huntington Center, get to Fort Wayne, take at least 2 or take 2 of the 3 against Fort Wayne in Fort Wayne, get back to the Huntington Center for game 6 of the series. I think that's a good possibility that Toledo can take the series and move on to the Western Conference Final. And the Western Conference Final is going to be very, very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. The Western Conference Final. The question is, will it be Kansas City or will it be Lake Tahoe to face either Fort Wayne or Toledo? Because that is where it's going to be. Lake Tahoe swept Wichita in the series. Swept them. And I look at this series for them against Kansas City. It's going to be a tough one for them. Because Kansas City, of course, like I mentioned before, very, very good. Very, very good in this series. And the series doesn't start till Sunday in Independence, Missouri for the series. So the winner of that series will play the winner of the Fort Wayne-Toledo series. Will it be Lake Tahoe? Will it be Kansas City? Kansas City, very, very good this year. Lake Tahoe, a little bit of a surprise, but they've been the number 2 team all season, the number 2 team out in the Mountain Division. Will it be that? Will it be something? We'll see. You have Norfolk, who swept Wheeling. They'll play the Lions of Trevose, who won their series. That will be taking place Friday. But the big one tonight, of course, besides the Fort Wayne, Iowa game, which I know a lot of the Walleye fans were watching the game tonight for this one to see who the next opponent was going to be. The big surprise is that the Brabham Cup curse continues. South Carolina gets eliminated tonight at home in South Carolina by the Orlando Solar Bears tonight. Orlando upsets the South Carolina Stingrays shutting them out 2-0 in Game 7 of the South Division semifinals. And I to say that out loud is shocking because I told you guys this. Florida and South Carolina were going to play each other and they were going to beat each other up. Now you have this series breaking into the Battle of Florida between Orlando and the Everblades. I think it's going to be a dogfight in this series. I'm looking forward to seeing this series because Orlando, they're tough. We saw them come into the Huntington Center this year, play 3 tough games against the Fish. We know how tough they can be. Can they break through that wall and beat the Everblades? It's the key thing. Can it happen? We'll see. We'll see. They'll start that series on Friday, 7:30 puck drop in Ernesto, Florida, between the Everblades and the Orlando Solar Bears. Like I said, Toledo Fort Wayne will be Friday and Saturday, games 1 and games 2. Get your tickets by calling 419-725-WALL or visit ToledoWalleye.com or head down to the box office at the Huntington Center or the Swamp Shop at Fifth Third Field for tickets for the series. So there's that. By the way, Saturday, Orlando, Florida. Sunday will be Norfolk and the Lions of Trevose, and Lake Tahoe, Kansas City will start that series on Sunday, and then Tahoe and Kansas City will play on Monday in Game 2. Toledo will play their Game 3 in Fort Wayne on Monday night. So there is that. That lays it all out right there. We will have special post-game editions of All Andy Alfred on our Facebook Live. It'll be Facebook Live post-game for Games 1 and Game 2 of the Central Division Final. It will be also on the Riverside Podcast Network through the different platforms of the All Andy Alfred Podcast Network, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We'll have that all recorded for you guys, so you guys can listen to the post-game analysis for both Friday and Saturday. Now, bear in mind with you, the Saturday broadcast is going to be a little bit different because, of course, most of the day Saturday, yours truly will be watching the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby. It's the biggest day of the year for horse racing. I'll be watching a lot of the horse racing. So once the Derby's done, which is done, the race is supposed to be around 6:47, 6:57 time frame. After that, my attention will go over to the Fish to watch what's going to happen with that. So if your Friday night's coverage will be coverage, and then we'll give you some of the exact lines and a little bit of the recap of the Oaks race. And then Saturday, all-day coverage for Saturday will be coverage of Game 2 after the game, as well as recapping of the Kentucky Derby. We will have a post-game edition Monday night, special Monday night post-game edition. This whole round, we're going to be doing post-game live editions. The regular show of All Andy Alfred will probably, we're doing a little bit of this housekeeping as we speak. The regular show will be done Tuesday night. We'll recap games 1, 2, and 3 in full entirety of those series on Tuesday night. Next Tuesday night, we'll have the post-game. We'll have not the post-game edition, but we'll have the regular full edition of All Andy Alfred to recap the whole weekend, including a full in-depth recap of the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks race and all the golf that's happening, as well as all that's happening on the diamond as well. So there's that. For you guys, a little housekeeping on that. By the way, also, got to make mention of this. We are going to have our good friend Lucas Sigerson back on the podcast. It will be a tape show. We're going to be taping it probably either tomorrow night or Thursday night to get ready for the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks. He does a great job on PassTheWire.com to get on, and he's a great handicapper for the horse races. We're going to preview the Oaks race as well as preview the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby as well. Opening lines are out too. Journalism is out right now at 4-1. Sandman out 5-1 right now. It's a good slate. it is really 20 great horses in this race, and it is a tradition unlike any other in sports. The fastest 2 minutes in sports will be taking place this first Saturday in May, on May the 3rd, at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky. So there's that for you guys. And we'll preview the full Derby. It's going to be an in-depth show all on the Derby on Thursday nights, Thursday's edition of All Andy Alfred, with our good friend Lucas Sigerson, as he will sit down with yours truly for the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby and the 151st running of the Kentucky Oaks. So tonight, as you're watching and listening to All Andy Alfred right here on the All Andy Alfred Podcast Network, whether it be on Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Bleaker, however you're listening, wherever and whenever you're listening, thank you so much for tuning in. NHL playoffs, keep talking a little bit about the pond, of course. The big, I'll get to some news here in just a second, but the big story tonight, Ottawa going into Scotiabank Arena and shutting out the Leafs 4-0. The Leafs still having a 3-2 lead in the series, but now that series transitions back to Ottawa for Game 6. Right now, going into overtime, the Devils and Hurricanes tied at 4. This game has been a doozy. I've been watching most of it all night between the Toronto game, the Devils Carolina game, and following the Iowa Fort Wayne series game. I've been watching it all as it's taken place, and it's been an interesting game, very, very interesting game. The Devils up 3-0 after 20 minutes of play. Carolina comes back and scores 3 unanswered, ties the game. Devils get the 4th goal, but Carolina scores on the power play to force overtime in the second period frame, and they're just now underway in overtime in Raleigh on TBS. 1904, the mark of the overtime period. The Oilers and Kings getting ready to start on the way right now. At the end of 20 minutes of play, it's the Golden Knights 2, the Minnesota Wild 1 after 20 minutes of play. Tomorrow, a huge slate on the docket for hockey in the National Hockey League, of course. Tomorrow, Blues and Jets. The series tied at 2 games apiece. This goes back to MTS Center in Winnipeg, Manitoba. 9:30 puck drop on ESPN. At 7 o'clock, it'll be Washington taking on the Montreal Canadiens. Washington looking to close out the series against the Canadiens. The Panthers and Lightning, Florida, looking to close out their series against the Lightning as they're up 3-1 on the Lightning in that one. Thursday night, it will be Leafs and Senators, 7 o'clock on TBS. Stars and Avalanche, Dallas leading the series 3-2. It does not look good for the Avalanche. The Avs can get it done and force Game 7, but it's back in Dallas. So that is a huge series going forward on May the 1st. Also, got to plug this. Of course, the finalists have been announced for the Norris Trophy. Huge news announced on that. Hughes, McCarr, and Zach Werenski named as finalists for the Norris Trophy. So there is that. It's good to see Zach Attack getting nominated for the Norris Trophy for this season, and he deserves it. He had a great season with the Blue Jackets this year, so it's no surprise that Zach Werenski gets the nod for that one. Hughes from Vancouver, Quinn Hughes, had led the Canucks in 60 assists with 76 points, with averaging 25 minutes per season. Cale Makar had 30 goals, 62 assists, and 92 points. Zach Werenski was named to the Norris for the first time. He had a total of 59 assists and 82 points to go with an average of 26 minutes and 45 seconds of playing time on the ice. So I hope Zach gets it. I have a feeling he's probably not going to get it, unfortunately. He's probably going to go to Makar. But we shall see. We shall see what happens. So there's all that, all the talk on the pond for you tonight right here on the All Andy Alfred Podcast Network, whether it be on Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Bleaker, however you're listening, Pocket Cast, however you listen to the podcast, wherever you listen to the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, as well as watching us on our YouTube channel as well. So going into some of the baseball news and notes, of course, the Reds tonight were washed out. We had a big storm system that had come through the state of Ohio. Toledo got hit this afternoon. Since Columbus was getting hit early this evening, and Cincinnati's getting the trail end of it. So they canceled the Reds game tonight. They were playing the Cardinals. That game has been postponed. The Twins, Guardians are just now underway. They're in the top of the fifth inning. Guardians and Twins tied at 1 right now. Tigers are in Houston right now to take on the Astros, and the Astros are up 6-2 on the Tigers, top of the eighth inning as we speak. Rangers are up on the Athletics 12-2. Rockies are falling to the Braves 7-2. Mariners a 3-0 lead over the Angels. Padres are up 3-1 on the Giants. Dodgers 3-1 leaders over the Marlins. The Yankees beating the Orioles tonight by the score of 15-3. Cubs a 9-0 win over the Pirates. Phillies a 7-6 win over the Nationals. Royals a 3-1 win over the Rays. The Red Sox a 10-2 win over the Blue Jays. You have to look at that catch that was made out in center field. What a catch. Absolutely took my breath away a little bit on that one. The Mets eat up on the Diamondbacks 8-3. The Brewers a 7-2 win over the White Sox in the affair today. And if you look at the standings going into today's play, the Tigers holding the top spot in the Central Division at 18-11. The Guardians falling behind. They are now 2.5 games out of first place at 15-13 going into today's play. The Royals 15-15, 3.5 games out. Minnesota 13-16, 5 games out of first place. And the White Sox are 7-21, 10.5 games out of first place. In the American League East, it is the Yankees at 18-12. The Red Sox 17-14, a game and a half out of first place. The Rays at 14-15, 3.5 games out of first place. Toronto 13-16, 4.5 games out, and the Baltimore Orioles are 11-18, 6.5 games out of first place. In the American League West, it is the Seattle Mariners at 16-12. Astros are 15-13, 1 game out of first place. The Sacramento Athletics are 15-14, a game and a half out. The Texas Rangers are 15-14, a game and a half out as well. And the Angels are 12-15, 3.5 games out of first place. In the senior circuit in the Central Division, it is led by the Cubs at 18-12. The Reds are right there at 16-13, winners of the 5 straight. So Tito Francona's got his team running right now. So I love seeing what I'm seeing with them. Milwaukee 14-15, 3.5 games out of first place. St. Louis 12-17, 5.5 out. And the Pirates are 11-19, 7 games out of first place. In the National League West, the Giants still holding the top spot. They're actually in a tie with the Dodgers. Both teams are a 19-10 overall record. Padres 17-11, a game and a half out. The Diamondbacks 15-14, 4 games out of first place. And the Rockies are 4-24, 14.5 games out of first place. National League East, the Mets have not hit the double-digit mark in losses. They're 21-9. The Phillies are 16-13, 4.5 games out. The Braves 13-15, 7 games out. The Nationals 13-17, 8 games out. And the Marlins 12-16, 8 games out of first place. So there's all the Major League Baseball news and standings right now. I think it's going to be interesting to see how how many wins that they're already early on pace. The Rockies are already on pace for just 24 wins this year. 24 wins. Yikes. So there's that. Of course, the draft has come and gone. We're going to get into that here really quickly for you guys tonight, right here on All Andy Alfred. Draft has come and gone. How about this? Harold Fanning Jr., our Bowling Green State University Falcon tight end, was drafted in the 3rd round by the Cleveland Browns. I think the Browns picked up a great tight end there that's going to help them out. Browns did make some moves in the 1st round, of course, making the big trade over with Jacksonville, but I think they did the right thing. I think Travis Hunter is going to be a great player, but I just don't think he would fit in with that Brown organization. I think the Browns did the right thing, went into the defensive side to draft first, but then, of course, they went out and got a quarterback. They got the kid, Gabriel out of Oregon. And then in the 5th round, they finally pulled the trigger and got Shedeur Sanders. Imagine this quarterback room. Watson, Pickett, Flacco, Gabriel, Sanders. You have a trusted quarterback in Joe Flacco, a mid quarterback in Kenny Pickett. You have a kid that's could be developing into the next NFL quarterback in Gabriel. And you have two egos that are Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. I just don't see it fitting. The Lions did make some good draft picks. I thought that they did pretty well in their draft this year. I really did. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how these kids shake out going into the OTAs and training. And the surprising thing is, was announced too that the Hall of Fame game this year will be the Lions will have the Hall of Fame game. They will play the Los Angeles Chargers on July 31st. Football season is getting earlier and earlier and earlier every year. Can't even enjoy the summer pastime that is baseball. Because I as a Lions fan, I'm going to be watching Lions, preseason and training camps in the middle of July. Because they go to training camp early because of the Hall of Fame game. Unbelievable. May 13th, we'll find out also the schedule for the 2025 NFL season. I'm excited to see what the Lions, who the Lions will be playing this year at Ford Field as well as on the road. You get your division games, of course, this year, but you get Dallas this year. You're going to get to play a bunch of you're playing Buffalo again. You're playing the Browns. You're playing the North this year. Gonna be interesting. Who's the Thanksgiving game? If they're gonna be playing on Christmas, how many primetime games are the Lions gonna get this year for me to stay up late either on Sunday or Monday night? We'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out, but it will be interesting. Of course, to cover some other sports, of course, and the NBA, of course, really quickly. The Knicks fall to the Pistons tonight, 106-103. New York still has the series lead at 3-2. Pacers beat the Bucks in overtime, 119-118. The Pacers will now move on to play the Cleveland Cavaliers in the next round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Magic and Celtics. Celtics are up 79-62 on the Magic with less than a minute to play in the third quarter. The Knicks and the Nuggets and Clippers are just underway. The Nuggets up 26-17. Tomorrow, slate Warriors and Rockets. Golden State up 3-1. They look to close out the series in Houston tomorrow. And the Timberwolves looks to close out the series against the LA Lakers tomorrow, 10 o'clock tip on TNT. I'm enjoying the TNT broadcast because, of course, this is the last year that TNT Sports is covering the NBA. It will be all flipped over to NBC next year. And the Inside the NBA crew will go over to ESPN. So we'll see what happens. With that. So there's that for you guys. Yeah, that's pretty much that for the regular sports. As you're watching and listening to All Andy Alfred tonight right here on the All Andy Alfred Podcast Network, whether it be on Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Bleaker, however you're listening, wherever and whenever you're listening, thank you so much for tuning into the podcast tonight. As I get a sip of water really quickly. Need that sip of water. And now it's time for our golf coverage tonight on All Andy Alfred. Tonight, our golf coverage all summer long and all season long is presented by our good friends at Scramble Stick. Scramble Stick, when you're picking up the ball in your group play, the best stick is a Scramble Stick. So let's dive right into it. Of course, the PGA Tour just took place this past weekend, which was the Zurich Classic of New Orleans. Novak and Griffin winning the tournament at 28 under par. Hojak getting the team of Hojan 27 under par. Capin the third, finish up in third at 26 under par. Crowd and Dickerson finished 25 under par, tied for fourth with Jobs and Verps in the round on Sunday. Griffin and Novak earned $2.7 million in the Zurich Classic of New Orleans. They now go to the Byron Nelson, which will happen May 1st to the 4th. Taylor Perth was the previous winner of that one. That game that will be on CBS starting this upcoming weekend, as well as on the Golf Channel at ESPN Plus. But this past Sunday, I got a chance to watch the ending of the Chevron Championship, and of course, the Chevron Championship takes place in the Woodlands in Texas. A great, I have to say, it's probably one of my favorite events to watch. It's the start of the major. It's one of the four big majors in the LPGA, and a huge ending to this. It was an absolute huge ending to this. Lindy Duncan bails herself out at 18 with a birdie, with an eagle putt to tie, and it's a 5-way playoff. I said that right, a 5-way playoff for the championship of the Chevron Championship. As it was Henju Kin, Arya Janigan, Ryu Lin, Lindy Duncan, and Mao Sago all taking place, playing 18 again. Lindy finishes with a bogey at 18. Janigan had the opportunity to win, misses the putt, pars it. Haju Kim misses her putt and fails and pars it. Ryu Lin bogey pars the hole there, but Mao Sango connects on the birdie putt, takes the chance, nails the birdie putt, and she wins the Chevron Championship with a 7 under par, 74 for her round on Sunday. Haju Kim finishes 7 under par with a 70 in round 4. Janigan 71 for the round, 7 under par. Lindy Duncan 73, 7 under par for that one. Sarah Schwartzel, looking at the rest of the standings, Sarah Schwartzel 5 under par. Jonyo Kim 5 under par as well to Hiju Ryu, 5 under par as well to Carolyn Segunda, 4 under par. Hyunjin Choi 4 under par as well too. Nelly Korda finishes tied for 14th at 2 under par. And like I told you earlier in the week when we did the podcast last week, she was very, very struggling in the first 2 rounds of this tournament. Made the cut and barreled her way back to 2 under par to tie for 14th. Lexi Thompson played in the tournament. She was 2 under par as well too. League 2 under par as well too. Alison Corpus 1 under par. Haslam gets 1 under par as well too. Wadasayan 1 under par as well too. Lauren Conklin 1 under par as well too. Christine Pedersen even par. Matthews 1 over par. Georgia Hall 1 over par. Let's see here. Suoko 2 over par, tied for 30th. Freyou 2 over par. Brooke Henderson finishes tied for 44th at 4 over par. She shot in her 4 rounds 72, 73, 75, 72 in her rounds. Natsuha Hadaoka 5 over par, tied for 57. She tied with Lydia Ko for 5 over par. Also with Yu and Wang at 5 over par 2. Cheyenne Knight 5 over par 2. Anna Norquist 6 over par, tied for 59th. Adi Askal 7 over par, tied for 62nd with Jasmine Suwanapura as well. Elena Sharp 8 over par, tied for 67 with Leona McGuire, who was 8 over par in her round. Paula Ritu 10 over par, tied for 71st in her round as well. Some of the big names, Ryan O'Toole 14 over par, tied for 79, did not make the cut. She finishes tied for 79. Some of the players that did not make the cut for the weekend, that Emma Talley, Lincomb, Let's see who also. Stacey Lewis missed the cut. Hannah Green missed the cut. Yuka Sasso missed the cut as well. Jin Lee 6 as well misses the cut. Carolyn Maslin misses the cut. Charlie Hall missed the cut. 75-73. Jennifer Dryberg misses the cut. 72 and 75. Gabby Lopez misses the cut as well. Jennifer Kupcho. Celine Boutier misses the cut as well. So the Chevron Championship took place in the Woodlands. They now head to the Black Desert Championship that will be out in Utah. It will be the inaugural event out there in Utah, May 1st through the 4th. And then after that, they will have the Mizuno American Open May 8th through the 11th, the Riviera Maya Open, and then the U.S. Women's Open, which will be taking place this year in Erin Hills, Wisconsin, And of course, like I mentioned before, next year it will be taking place at not at Highland Meadows, but Inverness Club in Toledo will be the next LPGA event that will actually take place in Toledo, not this Toledo Classic that's going to be happening this upcoming year. And I have my back pages comment about that here in just a second. But like I said, congratulations to Seo, the winner of the Chevron Championship, taking the jump into the pond for the championship of the Chevron Championship. And our golf coverage right here on All Andy Alfred is presented by our good friends, like I said, again, at Scramble Stick. Whenever you're playing in your foursome, the only stick you need, besides the putter, the clubs, and everything, is your Scramble Stick. So there's that for you guys. Of course, lots to get into with golf going forward. Of course, we are still in talks of heading up to the Dow Invitational up in Midland in June, late June, early July. Looking forward to that going into this upcoming year. And remember, next year, of course, like I said, the U.S. Women's Open will take place at Inverness Club. We'll have full coverage of that. We will. Not this the Toledo Classic. And that's where we're going to start right now with this. Of course, you all know last year I took part of the Dana Open. I got an opportunity to finally work the Dana Open and see the backside, as this is the back pages of All Andy Alfred. Having the opportunity to do that was absolutely amazing. And I kind of knew the writing was on the wall a little bit at the dinner that they had for the volunteers that following Tuesday at Pinnacle. Judd Silverman had this kind of a feeling that something, we don't know where this tournament's going next year. And I knew something was up with it, but I didn't know that they were going to have the LPGA finally pull all the way out of the tournament. Now, bear in mind, I do love the Aspen Tour. It is a great development tour for the kids to move up. And we've had a lot of Aspen Tour members come and play at the Dana Open, Marathon Classic, Toledo Classic, but it doesn't beat watching the best professional women golfers take the course at Highland Meadows Golf Course. It was a big kick in the pants this year when they announced that the LPGA was going to come, the full players that weren't going to come. They were going to have this golf classic. It's the Greater Toledo Classic. That's what they're calling it. Where they're going to have Aspen Tour players playing alongside LPGA legends, kind of like that Lake Tahoe kind of a tour event that they have, where they've had the celebrities playing with the PGA players. To that, I say, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to turn out really well. My feeling is this. We scratch a year off of the golf tournaments and put all our eggs in our basket for next year when the Women's U.S. Open comes to Inverness Club. That's what I'm going to be doing. I mean, I'm looking forward to going to Midland. Looking forward to giving you guys coverage to keep covering the LPGA, because I am one of the only few that will cover the LPGA on a podcast. besides the LPGA people that do it. But you get my opinion and my take on it. I have been watching ladies professional golf in the city of Toledo for the longest period of time. Ever since it was the Jamie Farr Owens Corning Classic and the Jamie Farr Classic, I've been watching golf. I enjoy going out to Highland Meadows every year. If you look around in this office, you look around in the man cave that we have down here. I've got pictures of 18 green. I'm looking right now. I'm looking at a picture of 18 green at for championship, or it would be nine in regular play, but 18 green at Highland Meadows right now. I'd be looking at 9 championship at my putting surface. I've always loved the LPGA coming to Toledo. It brings people into the community. It brings these fans who love the LPGA to Toledo to watch these professional golfers take place. These golfers love coming to the city. Now, I've heard some rumors, of course, in the past that Toledo's probably one of the worst spots when it comes to food-wise for the LPGA golfers. I've also heard some bad things about, the convenience for these players because of it. And I understand that. You're playing this tournament all the way out in Sylvania, Ohio, and not in the city of Toledo limits. You have an event like that. I just wish that the LPGA would look into this and continue to come to Toledo and come support this, because I think this year is really going to affect a lot of the children's charities that do this. And I do support those charities. 100% of the proceeds go to all ticket sales go to those charities. So there's that. But the problem I have is that corporate sponsors don't want to invest in this. We struggled with it with Dana last year. We struggled it with Marathon the year before that, and it was the Marathon Classic presented by Dana, and then it was the Owens Corning Classic presented by Marathon, and then the Marathon Classic presented by OI and everything like that. If we had a solid sponsorship with a bigger purse, which would bring players in. Hell, if you look in the past, I've looked in the past with this tournament. We've had great players come. We've had Nelly Korda come in. We've had Michelle Wee come in here. We've had all the greats that have come through that are top tier players now. Jessica Korda, everybody has come in and played in this tournament. Brooke Henderson's played in this tournament for so many years. She hasn't won it, but she would come to Toledo and support the community, and the fans would come and support her because she's so close to Canada. Those Canadian fans would come down from Canada to Toledo to support her. The Brooke Brigade would come out. The Lou crew would be there. Just for this year, to lose the LPGA in Toledo hurts. In this tournament hurts. It's going to affect the community of Sylvania. It's going to affect hotels. It's going to affect food restaurants. It's going to affect those people that come in for this tournament, and they're not going to see the best players in the world. They're going to see kids that are just trying to get their tour cards, or players that are past their prime. And I'm not trying to knock this tournament. I mean, if you go support it, go support it. But I think it would have been the smarter play and the better play to just scrape the tournament for this year, some sort of way, since the LPGA wasn't coming, and put our eggs in our basket for the U.S. Women's Open that's coming to Inverness. Because a lot of those people, and I know it's all volunteer based. I understand it's all volunteer based. There's not people that are hired to do this. I saw it last year. I was a volunteer. And what got me a little bit about it too, and I will say this. I enjoyed volunteering. The wife paid for the volunteer kit. But the high price of the high price of it. The high price of paying. You have to pay to volunteer. That's high. I can understand from what I did, it was like $65. $65, which is enough for a weekly grounds ticket. But I'm working it. Some people were just, sign carriers and stuff like that. I will never forget this from not this past year, but the previous year. I was with my wife. We were at 18 Green. We were watching this group come up. We were watching the group come up. These people come up. They're a volunteer group. This a volunteer chairman person like that comes up to these two girls and asks them to volunteer right there on the spot to be sign walkers because they were short-handed. If that's saying something. Overall, support the Greater Toledo Classic. I will say that, but more importantly, support the charities with it. I know tickets are going to be cheap right now, $20 for the daily grounds ticket, and here it's cheaper for that and everything. I'll say this too: the Dow that we're going to be going to, tickets are $10. Parking is free for the Toledo Classic, for the Espen Tour players and the legends that are coming. It's $20 plus $20 for the parking. It's $40 to see the best women golfers in the LPGA in Midland, Michigan, 2 hours away from Toledo. It's going to cost you $10 plus gas, which would be enough which would override the price to go to the Toledo Classic to pay for the parking and the ticket itself. Totally worth it to go up to Midland to watch the best golfers. So again, support the charities that are with the Toledo Classic. If you go to the Toledo Classic, enjoy it. We're not going to cover it here on All Andy Alfred. I'm going to tell you that right now. We're not covering it. We're going to still focus with the LPGA stuff. I might go out there and watch a little bit of it, but I'm not going to cover it. We're not covering it here because the best women golfers deserve the best coverage on All Andy Alfred. And I know that these players are getting their tour card and wanting their tour card, but it's only 3 days. 3 days of tournament play. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It should be 4. 4! So, it hurts. It really does. I when that came down over the winter, while we were off air, it bothered me. It really, really bothered me. So, yeah. It really bothered me. Like I mentioned before, too, we have some great shows happening right now in the Toledo metro area regarding a theater, of course. Into the Woods with Oregon Community Theater. Tickets are, you can go to Oregon Theater, OTC Theater, I think it's called, .org. I might have to, I'll post a link on our Facebook and Twitter accounts for the show. It's Into the Woods. Great cast. Definitely go see it. Highly recommend it. Had some good reviews. Wife and I are possibly Thursday night, headed down to the Rep for Witness for the Prosecution by Agatha Christie. That looks like it. They've had full weekend shows. The building's been full. Sunday when I was driving past through downtown and I went past the Repertoire Theater, the parking lot was jammed. It was jammed, and that tells me that this show is really good. So get your tickets for that, ToledoRep.org for ticket information. They are announcing shows for this upcoming year. Nothing's really catching my eye as of yet. So we'll see how it all shakes out going forward with me in the theater. But maybe it's just more podcasts, more time to talk with you, the fans. And remember, you can always be a part of our podcast by following us on our Twitter account, which is at AllAndyAlfred, as well as Facebook.com/AllAndyAlfred. And as well as on our YouTube account as well, too. So there is that for you guys tonight. Now, remember, we will have a special edition of All Andy Alfred on Thursday night. It will be the coverage of the 151st running of the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby with our good friend Lucas Sigerson. He'll be joining us as we will preview the Derby and the Oaks race that will be taking place at Churchill Downs in the Twin Spires in Louisville, Kentucky. We'll look at all the horses. We'll make your bets and look to see who is going to be racing for the Triple Crown this year in the Kentucky Derby race in the male horse races this upcoming year. And remember, Friday and Saturday nights, All Andy Alfred post-game edition. We will recap Games 1 and Games 2 of the Central Division Final between now the Toledo Walleye and the Fort Wayne Comets. Game 1 and Game 2, Friday and Saturday. Sunday, a day off for yours truly. We'll get back at it again Monday night for another post-game edition of All Andy Alfred. A regular show Tuesday to recap everything that's happened. A lot of shows. If you haven't subscribed, go and subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to the podcast now. But again, Fort Wayne a winner tonight over the Iowa Heartlanders 4-1, winning the series 4 games to 3 in Game 7 at the Coliseum. The Fish and the Comets, Game 1, Friday night at the Huntington Center, 7:15 puck drop. We'll be on the air post-game to that right here on the All Andy Alfred Podcast Network. That's all the time I have for you guys tonight on All Andy Alfred. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Remember, subscribe to the podcast and subscribe on our YouTube as well as on our Facebook page as well as on our Twitter account, which is at All Andy Alfred. I'm Andy Alfred. I hope you enjoyed the podcast tonight. Remember, as always, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together. The game of life. Keep your stick on the ice. And to the teams you root for at home, and then my teams, go Jackets! Congratulations, Zach, on being a finalist for the Norris. Go Walleye! Beat the Comets. Go Reds. Go Guards. Go Tigers, and go Hens. More birdies, less bogeys, and fear the death. Go Monsters. Monsters taking the series against the Marlies. Game 1 tomorrow night against the Lavelle Rockets. Take down the Rockets. Like I said, more birdies and less bogeys because victory is sweetest when you have tasted defeat. Have a great evening, everybody. I'll talk to you guys Thursday night with my good friend Lucas Sigerson for the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby, and Friday night on our Facebook Live as Game 1 of the Central Division Final takes place at the Bank Tank. Love you. Talk to you guys then.